Alright guys, so moving on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Cyborg 19.99, who asked me to do a what-if scenario involving Amanda Waller and the Thunderbolts. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys could start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoy this, and let's get started. So, this is basically like the question Cyborg asked me to do was this big what-if scenario of what if Waller was in charge of the Thunderbolts. And honestly, you can make the argument that it wouldn't really be any different from when she ran the Suicide Squad. Now, the Thunderbolts are obviously one of the most malleable teams in the Marvel Universe. They've been from villains pretending to be heroes, to villains trying to seek redemption, to a supervillain Black Ops squad for Norman Osborn, to a group of supervillains hunting heroes for registration, again for Norman Osborn. That happened before the Black Ops stuff. To being villains trying to be redeemed by Luke Cage, to villains being, used for superpowered officers under Fisk's rule as mayor. Basically what I'm trying to say is, Thunderbolts have been really malleable. Even now, we have Hawkeye leading a brand of Thunderbolts that are not really villains, it's just a ragtag group of heroes. But anyway, I digress. Point being is that Thunderbolts is the most malleable team. But how would Waller utilize it? Well, obviously Waller would kind of use it in the vein of, again, the Suicide Squad, and also how Norman Osborn used the team, where it was a Black Ops villain team used to carry out, it was more for Norman's personal use, but Waller would probably use them the same way as the Suicide Squad, where she'd use them to take out take out Black Ops targets. Now, as to who would be on that team, I can't really say. Although I do imagine that the team would probably be a lot of, a mixture of villains that no one would care about, and also villains that are probably big hitters. I do see that she would want to utilize the same way Norman did. She'd definitely want to utilize Bullseye. I could totally see her wanting to use Bullseye on this team as her version of Deadshot. I could also see that, she would want to use, some other, big hitters. Some big meta-human hitters, I don't know, maybe Sandman, or, the Rhino, or, I imagine this team would be a lot like that. That's how I kind of imagine it. And Waller is no saint. We all know that she is every bit as evil as, Lex Luthor or any other character. Waller is a force to be reckoned with, and a lot of how I see it of her using the Thunderbolts is a lot like how Norman used them during Dark Reign. And I've said that before, but it stands to reason that that's kind of how I see it happening. Is that she would use this team how she saw fit, as her own personal hitman squad as well. I could see it that she would use this team not just for the government's best interest, she would be using it for the assisting the president and all of that, but also be using the Thunderbolts for cleaning up her own messes, because God knows she does that every other Tuesday. I could see it that she would use this to keep a lot of the other, to keep track of the metahuman community. I could see her using that to take on, I could even see it she would have the balls Waller would have the balls to deploy the Thunderbolts into Wakanda to try to steal vibranium, because of course that bitch would, and also try to maybe even take out members of the royal family. So, yeah, if you Amanda Waller would totally work as a Black Panther villain. Let's be real. She would definitely go after King T'Challa, and be you can't touch me. I'm a government official. You can't come after me. That's actually not a bad idea. Amanda Waller definitely works as a Black Panther villain. Not because, she's also black, but because, she has the just the absolute balls to invade countries, and she would do the same thing to Latveria too. I could even see her wanting to use the Thunderbolts to assassinate Doctor Doom, or assist in like stirring up shit between using them for like a Black Ops mission for to stir up shit between Latveria and Symkaria and start like a nuclear war. Like maybe that's like the government wants to use Waller's Thunderbolts team in order to start to like try to kill Doctor Doom and at the very least embroil him in a war that they can back Symkaria to help depose Doctor Doom at the very least. So that's how that's really how I kind of see it. Like I said, not too dissimilar from how she would utilize the Suicide Squad. But the other thing I do see is that she would be more open to using the Thunderbolts. Like that, there's the big difference. Whereas the Suicide Squad runs, Black Ops and whatever. The big thing here is that the Thunderbolts are a publicly known team, and like Waller can hide behind the fact of, oh yeah, this is a supervillain parole, and they're learning how to be better people, and all this, and like the Avengers and all the other superhero teams would be like, yeah, no, that's not what's happening. You're basically using them. And also, I could see her like also being like Waller would also be a great X-Men villain too, because don't tell me she and Gyrick wouldn't be Henry Gyrick wouldn't be BFFs. Because they would. Anyway. So, yeah, there you go, guys. That's how I kind of see it. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if Amanda Waller ran the Thunderbolts? Just comment below, let me know. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. That'll give you access to all the other stuff on Patreon, as well as send me a request to do videos here on YouTube. Also, who do you think would be on Waller's Thunderbolt? What Marvel villains do you think Waller would have in her Thunderbolts team? That's also a good question. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.